Hello, and welcome to our ActiveImage webinar series. My name is Sergey Zimin. I'm sales engineer for Australia and New Zealand office. And in today's webinar, our topic is ActiveVisor. ActiveVisor, in short, is site management component, site management graphic user interface, which helps us to manage all machines per single site. A single site may consist of one or several local area network segments, but just to emphasize, this is a tool suitable for site management. In other words, we do not attempt to emulate cloud management of cloud management layer to manage many sites. Having said that, ActiveVisor component can be definitely used with unlimited number of sites because of one neat feature of this component. We can connect to this component over HTTP or secure HTTP and wide area network. We'll take a closer look. So why SLA? Because when it comes to backup and disaster recovery, SLA comes very important, and all of you guys probably know or rather realize importance of SLA. One of the things about SLA would be grouped in technical implementation section here, and for that reason, during today's session, we'll take a closer look at hosting, monitoring, deploying applications, maintaining applications. And definitely we'll take a closer look at how do we keep SLA terms, how do we maintain SLA terms with our product. Everything starts with collecting site configuration, identifying challenges, and finally, after a few steps, we get to implementation stage. And the main goal is to reflect a needed RPO and RTO, meaning we need to assure a specific requirement for a recovery point objective and reflect our recovery process meeting requested recovery time objective. So how old our data might be, or how fresh our data should be, I should say, and how much time we spend on providing this machine, which might be compromised, providing it in a good working state. So this is just the scope of things we can do with ActiveVisor site management layer. Going from left to right, I build it for myself. To be honest with you, this is more like cheat sheet for me to go through these steps when we just install and configure this management layer. So beginning with the left-hand side, top item, site-specific settings, right? So when we install product, we install, basically it gets as set of agent plus graphic user interface. So agent gets installed on a Windows operating system on the machine running on site. And for graphic user interface, we can use another part of this package, graphic user interface component installed with the agent, or we can rely purely on web interface. So let's switch to the product view. This is our demo / proof of concept / testing environment. So one of the machines here runs this ActiveVisor component. And at the moment, I am connected with graphic user interface to the agent, ActiveVisor agent running on the same machine. And this agent enumerates all machines running within the same local area network segment. So we do have ability to add them. In the beginning, all of these machines could be found under unmanaged section. At the moment, we have 0 unmanaged clients, but all of these machines will be found and placed in the unmanaged section. Steps to do with the product. Just to save yourself a lot of time and not to go back and forth, we may begin with site configuration. We go here, click on this button, and within this section, we just provide a few answers. So first of all, in general settings, we need to decide how long we need to retain event logs. Default numbers are here for you. Performance, how often agent would have to enumerate this site for new machines, possibly finding new machines every 24 hours. And proxy settings, in case you need to provide them, they're here for you. Under notification, as you see, we can configure monthly, weekly, or daily notifications. And notifications can be configured with a scope with the amount of information being sent. As you see here, criteria can be task failure success, new discoveries, new installs, patches, template deployments. Once you provide this information here under SMTP server section and run test email, you basically define notifications being sent by ActiveVisor agent. So instead of each agent in the environment attempting to send this notification to the email address of recipient, we can configure ActiveVisor centralized point of communication. Under network credentials section, just in case if you standardize on one account per site, you can provide these credentials here. In case if you need to deal with a handful of various credentials, no worries. The software can be configured for that too. We just don't need to worry about central point of providing these credentials. But in case you have them, please do it here. Storage devices, again, just for convenience, you don't need to browse your network every time you need to schedule one of the machines in your environment. They can be defined here. They can be found from this single place, and you can build a good size list of possible destinations for your backups. Hypervisor list. Why do we need hypervisor list? Just in case if you plan to use vStandby feature. vStandby is a separate topic for a separate webinar. Please welcome to visit our recorded session and familiarize with vStandby. In short, vStandby is a feature which allows us to prepare standing by virtual machine on one of the supported hypervisor types and start this replica in case if production machine goes down or gets compromised. So for that reason, we can build a list of supported hypervisor hosts in our local area network segment here. And I have it here now. Alerts. Alerts are divided in several segments here for client alerts, licensing alerts, activation alerts, and backup vStandby alerts. So all these numbers here can be fine-tuned, adjusted. Default values you see here on this screen. And because this agent can be accessed from outside over wide area network, we can fine-tune this agent connection settings. In my case, I have this connection accessible over port 9999 HTTP. And that's how I found this agent when I switch to my web browser. Give me a second, please. So at the moment, I'm sitting like maybe 100 or 120 kilometers away from this site where I'm connected to. And as you see, my view is exactly the same as the one provided over remote management connection here. So if I bring up ActiveVisor instance running on that site, accessible over remote network connection, the view is exactly the same as I have visible via my locally running web browser. So once we are done with initial site configuration, we can move on to defining backup plans, vStandby tasks if we need to, providing schedule or handful of schedules, and few more options here. So to get to backup templates, we can click on backup button here, and we can rename it to be something useful. And as you see here, options are to define between all available volumes, to maybe focus on only system disk, or we can switch from disk view to volume view and define only needed volumes to be backed up. We can also import layout from any machine available in our environment. So if any machine has ActiveImage Protector agent installed by then, we can import layout of that source machine and have it as a model to build a backup template based on this layout. So things like that. Instead of going from, let me cancel from here. Instead of going with blank template, let me switch to the existing templates and just open one of these templates for editing. As you see here, I can click on the top of this list and switch between template view and site view, machine view. If I'm in template view, I have templates stored for backup, vStandby, and I have templates for schedule. So let me just open one of these templates for editing and run through the screens so you could see the options. Now, import layout from existing machine versus defining disks or volumes. Naming it somehow, definitely. Destination folder, because we built list of destinations, we can select from available destinations. Subfolder for each backup set, very handy. You don't need to fiddle with the large number of backup chunks. Everything will be logically separated in subfolders. Define prefix, optional step definitely. Provide some comments, optional. Under settings, on the right-hand side, by default, we have compression. And compression by default would be standard compression. But we can switch to deduplication. And deduplication is performed per each source. So in other words, our deduplication differs from other vendors in sense of being performed per source rather than being performed against multiple sources, so-called global deduplication. Personally, I like our approach because our approach provides portability of deduplicated data. In other words, you don't need to rely on large number of CPUs and large amount of RAM to extract data when you need to recover this data, when you need to use this data. In our approach, the duplicated set will be found, copied, and pasted to external media and sent over to site, as easy as that. And level 2 is default level. Level 1 is maximum compression. Level 2, medium compression, more optimal for daily operation. Level 3 is fast run. Basically, you get a larger size of resulting set, but runs faster. We'll take a look at the numbers of each level, just as an example. Password and encryption protection, that's there for you. Now, we can define retention policy. If we don't do so, the software will keep creating full backups and incremental backups on schedule. With the retention policy, software will not only do that, but software will be instructed how many full sets plus increments to keep. So with the retention policy, we can define to keep only one full set or several full sets and corresponding incrementals. Reconcile image option means that we can instruct software to attempt to create incremental even if previously created increment gets corrupt. For speeding up operation, this option can be disabled. In that case, software will create full backup. It will take less time, but sometimes that's all we need, just short time of operation. Save or save and deploy. My template is saved already, so I'm not going to save it. Since we are here, let me tell you the same story about vStandby. So vStandby can be configured as a template from this section. And with vStandby, the selection is hard-coded as a default as entire set of disks from the source machine. Name it somehow, definitely. Move next. Hypervisor host, meaning what is our destination? ESXi and Microsoft Hyper-V are supported platforms. And since we build the list of supported hypervisors, we just select from the list. And that's all for this step. And a few bits of information will be listed here about the destination host. So on the next screen, we will define settings for a resulting standing-by machine. So as you noticed, we are not asked about location of backups, right? So we're not producing backups. We are pointing our agent on each machine to directly create or maintain a copy of standing-by virtual machine, bypassing backup set creation stage. So number of CPUs, amount of RAM can be defined here. VM name conversion, so we can provide some format of name for the resulting VM plus computer name, as you see here. Starts with VSR, goes with some format for date. Virtual hardware version goes with the destination hypervisor, definitely. And this information is pulled from the destination host, what we are connected to. So all these data stores list can be formed, taken from destination hypervisor host. In case if we are working with DRS, distributed resource scheduler, we will be able to pull, take some resource pool settings from here. And network configuration. In my case, I have only one item, but it can be a list of items. Type of adapter can be selected from here. DHCP versus source settings. Source settings, in my opinion, is wiser option because if we lose production source machine, we don't need to spend extra time on configuring IP address as same as it was configured in the source. So use source settings, in my opinion, is better option. However, cases can be different, as you know. Providing schedule. So vStandby template includes schedule within, and it can go as often as once every 5 minutes. So I can lower it down to 5 minutes, and 5 minutes will be the least amount. So this is the most frequent case. vStandby test can run every 5 minutes. How many boot points to keep? We have a standard of 30 boot points available. Sometimes this number can be very excessive, especially if the destination host cannot accommodate a lot of snapshots. So we can lower it down to 4, 2, 1, and any number between 1 and 30. What does it mean? It means that if source machine was compromised a long time ago, a few days ago, we can select a earlier boot point to boot virtual machine from. That's the only reason for that. And if we run it once per day, we have up to 30 days to go back to. Summary, save and deploy. That's our options here. And with schedule, again, I will open existing schedule for editing. With schedule, the story is on the left-hand side, you will define how often you run base image, full backup. On the left-hand side, how often you run incremental image. Increments can run as often as once every 5 minutes. And base image can be switched from monthly to weekly or run once at specified date. If we want to employ incremental forever scheme, we can do that so. And that's the story with schedule. Summary and save and deploy. So we're done this configuration with templates. Now, before we go to deploy something, let me touch up on client settings. Client settings comes as a set of templates too. And with client settings, why we do client settings? Because depending on level of service for a client, you might want to disable some features on the deployed agents for that client. So, and for that, you can manually pick features which client is not able to touch. You can toggle all of these features or come up with some customly built list of features to disable for a client. Again, you can fine-tune alerts for that particular client, and anything you do here can be saved under different name. So this name, once changed and saved, can be found as a template with this name in the client setting list. So that's the main purpose. So aside from site configuration, you can also build a fine-tuned list of client options for different sites and different purposes. I'll cancel out from here. Now, finally, we get to deploy stage. Everything begins with deploying agent, right? So before we apply one of the templates we built, we need to install agent on at least one machine. Whether we go with initial or update type of installation, we need to build a list of agents, and it's easy to do. We just click on add new, and it will ask us for location of executable. I have some executable stored already, so I can grab one of these agents available from my list and provide some machines. So all these machines found here, they are listed here not because they are registered as managed machines. The list comes from machines being discovered by the initial discovery of the ActiveVisor agent. So these machines might not have any agents. So I can push and hold Control button and keep selecting machines what I need to use for this deployment step. Add them to the list. Define some features here, define product key. Once I click on product key, it will list me available keys. I don't want to do it now because we are using production keys, but trust me, they're all there. And once the key is provided, I can click on install button and installation will begin. If agent is installed on some of these machines, the installation process will update this agent with the current copy of it, current version and build of it. Now, in our case, let me switch back to the site view. So on the left-hand side, I have a view of my site. I have these machines within installed agents logically divided in some groups. And to divide them in groups, you just need to click on manage, right-click on managed clients, create new group, name it somehow, and this new group will appear in your list. And then any machines in your infrastructure which have been registered as managed, you just push and hold control button, select all needed machines, and drag and drop them into the newly defined group. As easy as that. In my case, I have done it before, so I'm not going to drag them again, but you understand the principle. And finally, going to deploy. Whether we go with backup or schedule, the next screen will offer us to select both the template, one of the backup templates, one of the schedule templates we built one step back. And before you apply, again, same story, add some machines to the list. Suppose we added some machines here. Before we deploy this template with this schedule, we have a less chance to fine-tune this template if we need to. So all these settings can be adjusted before these templates will be applied to a list of machines. So this is backup plus schedule. Same is true if we want to deploy vStandby task. Same view, same set of steps to perform. And same is true with client settings. So if we want to apply custom version of client settings to some group of the machines, for some site, we do it from here, from the deployment section. After all, everything is deployed, everything is configured, backups run, vStandby tasks run. What can we see? What can we do? First of all, if we are not quite happy with the template applied to any of our machines, we can always expand this machine from the view, and we can go to task section. We can highlight this task. In our case, it's backup task, has been applied of some template, and we can fine-tune all available options for that machine. So instead of relying on template, we can always fine-tune any sections of this already applied task. Same is true with schedule. What else is available here? Disk information. We can see a disk in real time. We can see a destination where our backups go to, and we can clearly see what's the amount of available space. We can examine alert section, and alerts, as you see here on the common view, alerts will be listed. Once alert is populated, you can see it, and you can expand and go to the alert. In my case, machine is offline. Apologize for that. We can examine operation logs. So all logs will be accessible through the web interface if we need to. The logs can be examined in real time, or they can be saved and sent over to technical support or anyone who is interested of examining them further. So export log is standard feature here. And definitely we need to be able to say something, to see some more information about host protected. So as you see here, we can find what's the host name, member of which domain this machine is, what's the Ethernet segment it sits on, what operating system it runs on, model, processor, amount of RAM, IP address, and build and version of ActiveImage Protector software. And aside from being able to fine-tune settings of individual machine after machine has been deployed with all needed templates, we can do a few more things if we need to. For instance, we can detach it from our managed environment, move to unmanaged. We can shut it down or reboot. We can add it to monitoring individually, or we can build a list of monitored machines from a special tab. We'll see it in a second. And all other items from this list, upon right-clicking on individual machine, will be available to us. So even uninstalling agent can be available to us. Final step in this webinar session is monitoring, what it's all about. Monitoring can be built per site. So per site means you have browser with several tabs. Each tab would be connected to a separate end customer environment, and each tab will be complemented with this monitoring piece. So when we start with monitoring, the list is empty, so we build a list of machines to monitor. And let me put just a few, just to illustrate my point. By default, view will be like higher view, icon view. So just good enough to glance over and move on. But whoever is monitoring this environment can easily switch from icons to detailed view in case if one of these machines in the list brought some attention to this person, this machine can be represented in the detailed view. Zooming in out, obviously. And as you see here, for some machines which are configured with backups and standby tasks, this person can examine all these options. So instead of looking at the entire list of, like in my case, 33 machines, this person can monitor only a handful of machines, only a few machines. And this monitoring list can be having only machines which might be a point of your attention. So this is a short story, 30-minute story about ActiveVisor by ActiveImage Protector. Site management component, as I call it, very good to manage several sites at the same time, being connected over one instance of web browser with a few tabs opened. And this is our first step to cloud-based centralized management. So this is the first brick in our chain of bricks on the way to cloud management. I'm ready for questions. In case if you have any questions, you can find the Q&A section and type in all questions you might have. So the question is how close this ActiveVisor to cloud management. Cloud management will communicate finally when cloud management is deployed and configured. It will work with ActiveVisor as a counterpart. On each side, ActiveVisor will be element to which our cloud management will be connecting. The ActiveVisor, because of its ability to be connected via HTTP, HTTPS, cloud management will be connecting to each instance of ActiveVisor. As you see here on the bottom left-hand side, web server is one of the entries here. So at the moment, this section is only for logs of operation of web server. But at the end of this road, cloud management layer will be communicating with ActiveVisor on each site. And this is how all information collected from all sites can be populated and available for each MSP who is working through cloud management layer. So this is, as I said, this is a first step to cloud management, which is coming. Let me see if we have other questions. No, but to keep it short, let me just switch to contact information, how you can find us. And we will be happy to work with you If you have any questions, just give me a second, please. Apologies for that. So anytime you want to keep talking to us, just send email to one of these email address for technical questions. That would be support@activeimage.com.au. And for sales question, obviously sales@activeimage.com.au. And to get to the product, to find the product, you just visit our website, activeimage.com.au/downloads. Fill out this form, say a few words about yourself. To get ActiveVisor, that would be this component. To get some agent for ActiveVisor, ActiveImage Protector server, in my opinion, the easiest component to begin with. And all other components here can help you with advanced scenarios like Image Boot, Image Center, and vStandby IP. If for some reason you have trial but you lost executable link, please visit this section, activeimage.com.au/updates, and pull a needed executable from this list, just expanding the product name and downloading installer. You can examine release notes and find more information about what is the current build and version number of each component. So I just want to thank you for your time attending this webinar. Much appreciated. Come back for more. Check out our schedule of webinars, and I will be glad to see you again. For now, thank you again, and have a good day. Bye.